Hey, we're First to 11.
And you're checking out the Bottom Line Podcast.
This is the Bottom Line Podcast presented by Anchor.fm, your home for sports and entertainment talk. Jimmy Fedezzi, Newville Piano with you. We hope you're doing well. As always, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day to take a listen. We truly appreciate it. Hit us up on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Bottom Line WM6. And don't forget to use hashtag Bottom Line. Neil, I know it's been a hot minute. How's everything with you, man?
Everything's going okay. Staying very busy with Devil's State of Mind. I ended up attending a wedding over the weekend, so I had a little bit of fun up in Jersey City, so that was nice. Other than that, like I said, just mostly same old. What about you?
No, I got no complaints over here. Just been enjoying the gorgeous fall weather that we've been having. As of late, it's absolutely beautiful. I love it. No more searing heat. No offense to Jackie out there if she's listening. I know she's a summer girl, so I'm sorry. But anyway, I digress. But no, other than that, no complaints on my front. But boy, we are I want to be real personal here for a second. We're on a bit of a time crunch. We all have some stuff going on, so we're not going to waste any more time and jump straight into our topic of discussion for today, which is a few more of our surprises and disappointments for week 3 of the NFL season. But real quick, before we get started, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. Hit the bell so you don't miss an episode, and subscribe on all audio platforms, include Jimmy when searching for this podcast. Let's jump straight into this. So we're going to start right off with a couple of surprises through week 3 of the NFL season. And boy, there have been quite a few. But to be honest, I have 2 surprise teams in particular and 2 disappointments. And I'll give you a hint. The one surprise and the one disappointment played each other this past week. Get to that in a little bit. But the surprise teams, the first one would be your Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders. 3-0 start. First 3-0 start since 2002 when they were in the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay. Sorry to relive that memory for you, Neil, but I digress there. But no, listen, in all seriousness, the Raiders, I mean, Neil, weren't you the one that said, correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't you the one that said the Raiders were not going to be good this year?
No, I didn't say that. That was not my word.
I don't know
why I would say that. I mean, look, when you go into the season, you look at that team and you say, what was the biggest thing that they need to fix? And it was quite frankly their defense. They had to get better defensively. Their defense was really bad last year. So when you go into this year, they made a couple of moves. They really kind of focused in the draft on getting better defensively. Trayvon Moehrig has done a really, really good job since he got into Raider camp. They brought in Clinton Dix off of waivers, which I think will actually be beneficial. Their defense is not obviously like incredibly better, but it is a lot better, and it has been able to make some plays here and there to kind of help it. But this team lives and dies by Derek Carr, and Derek Carr is other than obviously last week, he does a pretty damn good job of not turning over the football. He does. Yeah. He's very, very efficient. I don't really know why people have been crapping on him. Maybe it just has to do with the lack of wins, but you look back to a couple years ago when he got himself injured prior to the Raiders making the playoffs. That pretty much, set him back a couple of years. And now all of a sudden everybody's talking about Derek Carr as being an MVP candidate through the first 3 weeks of the season. He leads the NFL in passing yards through the first 3 weeks. And the Raiders have been really doing well offensively and playing in an AFC West that is so far been very surprising in general, with the Broncos also at 3-0 and the Chiefs staring at a 1-2 record. The Raiders are getting off to a really good start, and they're really going to need it as the season progresses. I would like to see, obviously, their defense continue to improve. Hopefully, Josh Jacobs can get back to being fully healthy. If not, I mean, Peyton Barber and Kenyon Drake have done a pretty good job. Peyton Barber had over 100 yards against the Dolphins this past week. The schedule is going to get a little bit easier once you get to the middle part of the season. So it's important to see the Raiders winning some of these games against some pretty decent opponents, Baltimore and also the Miami Dolphins, to just kind of get their confidence rolling. And now it's just about building upon this and moving forward and trying to continue to be dominant. I'm not going to sit here and say that the Raiders are a Super Bowl team or anything like that, but this is a Raiders team that is a lot better than I think people give them credit for. And I think that if they continue to play the way that they've been playing and progressing, they're only going to get better from here.
Yeah, you got to give John Gruden and his coaching staff a lot of credit. They've done a tremendous job with that team. And by the way, how good is Max Crosby, though? Oh, my God. He is. He's clearly their best defensive player this season. And if he keeps this up, don't be surprised if he's in the conversation for Defensive Player of the Year, because that man, oh my God, he is something really, really special. So the Raiders are one of my big surprise teams. And here's the other one. The Cincinnati Bengals. What? I can't believe I'm saying the Cincinnati Bengals are decent? What? I mean, look, Neil, think about it for a second. This is a team that when we went live for the NFL draft this past year, we were all saying, okay, you need to go offensive line because you need to protect Joe Burrow so that he does not injure his other knee or the same knee that he injured last season. So he needs more protection. They didn't listen. They drafted Jamar Chase. And I'm going to be real, I can kind of see why they went there, because the connection that him and Joe Burrow have so far through 3 weeks has been unbelievable. And this is a guy that had nothing but drops in the preseason. He didn't catch a pass in the preseason, and all of a sudden, he's on an absolute tear through 3 weeks. So, look, maybe the Bengals saw something that we didn't. Personally, I still would have loved it if they went offensive line, but surprisingly, they've actually played pretty decent. They did a pretty decent job without getting an upgrade. Would it have been nice if they still got Penei Sewell? Absolutely. It would have been an added layer of protection. But the bottom line for me is simply this. The Bengals, oh boy, especially Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Talk about a surprising combo and a surprising offensive line. That's what really impresses me about the Bengals so far.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at, you look at the fact that the Bengals also removed about 2 or 3 of their offensive linemen, including Billy Price, who ended up going to the Giants. And you kind of wonder to yourself, why exactly were the Bengals doing that? Well, so far through 3 weeks, it kind of looks like that maybe those were part of the offensive line that was the problem last year, and it cost Joe Burrow the rest of the season due to an injury. But make no mistake about it, the Bengals offensive line still needs a lot of work. One of the things that you definitely have to be concerned about is obviously the fact that, is this offensive line going to hold up throughout the course of this season? There is optimism that it can be that way. And if you're also able to generate the type of running attack that you've been able to generate with, obviously Joe Mixon in the backfield, that goes a long way.
Right.
Bengals are a team that obviously nobody has a lot of high expectations for, except really Joe Burrow. This is Joe Burrow's opportunity to really show, with it being, hopefully a full season without injury and continuing to perform. And he's got a big matchup this week against Trevor Lawrence on Thursday Night Football, which should be pretty entertaining to watch. I kind of like how the Bengals have played. Their defense has certainly been something that I think people really didn't expect. They've been playing very hard. They've been aggressive. And it was kind of tough to tell whether or not the Bengals are for real or that the Steelers are really that bad. I'm leaning more towards the Steelers are really that bad, because for them to drop back-to-back games at home to the Raiders and now to the Bengals is pretty tough to watch. And they barely beat the the Buffalo Bills in week 1. So they very well could have been staring at an 0-3 record to start the season. But going back to Cincinnati, I mean, look, this is the first time in a while where I think Bengals fans really have some hope and some optimism because they look at the pieces on offense. They look at what they've been able to generate so far. It's good. But they do have to remain cautiously optimistic. They're going to be playing on a national stage just tomorrow against the Jacksonville Jaguars, a team that they probably should beat. They are better than the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you would expect that the Bengals will be sitting at a 3-1 record after week 4. But they could very well drop this game, not look very good, and drop to 2-2. But still, it's a solid start for the Bengals. I feel like that they are a team that, if they're playing like this, could win 7-8 games maybe. It's still a pretty tough division because you got obviously the Ravens and, look, the Browns. Granted, the Browns are, offensively, they just don't throw the football up, but they're still very good. I mean, you have a 3-way tie right now for the first place in the AFC North with Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. I would expect the way this is going is that Cincinnati, at worst, is going to finish in 3rd place in that division, and at best is probably going to make themselves a wild card team. Could they potentially win this division? Absolutely. But again, I need to see more. It's only been 3 weeks. We have 14 more games to go, including this Thursday night. I got to see more. But if this is just the first stepping stone to continuing to get better, this was a very good first stepping stone for them. And we'll see if the offensive line continues to build chemistry and get better as we progress.
No, I'm with you 100%. A very, very good start for the Bengals so far. And let's hope that this keeps up, because I really, really want that team to succeed, especially Joe Burrow. And Joe Burrow, don't forget, is my pick for comeback player of the year. And if he keeps this up, he just might be in the running, ladies and gentlemen. So don't sleep on Joe Burrow, especially with Jamar Chase. I mean, my God, those two are inseparable so far through 3 weeks. Now let's go on to the disappointments. My disappointments, at least.
Please,
Neil,
please say the Steelers. Please tell me the Steelers. Please tell me that.
One of them are the Steelers.
Okay,
absolutely,
so that should
yes.
be a warning to you. Please never pick the Steelers to do anything relevant ever again, like you did last year, where you thought they were going to go to the Super Bowl and they barely got into the playoffs. So
I look absolutely foolish for that one.
Bad Jimmy. Don't do that again. I'm gonna have to smack you around the next time you do something stupid like that.
Yeah, I look foolish for that one. But listen,
at least they made the playoffs. We'll give you that. At least they made the playoffs.
Well, yes, but even still, where did that get them? They lost to the Browns at home.
They lost to the Browns on the first play of the game.
Exactly. Exactly.
It was over after one play.
But listen, going back to what Neil said earlier about the Steelers when he was talking about the Bengals, the Steelers could have been 0-3. Their defense single-handedly won them that game in Buffalo. If it wasn't for that defense, they'd be 0-3. Because, listen, their offensive line is tragic. It is terrible. They are not protecting Big Ben enough. Look, do I still think they have...
Are you really going to put the reasoning why the offense is terrible on the offensive line? The offensive line is their furthest problem right now on offense. Their biggest problem is, Captain Fat, under center, wearing number 7 in black and gold.
Hear me out. That's exactly where I was going next. Because the bottom line is simply this. The Steelers are just, they look awful. Like, they look awful. I think at this point we are seeing the end of an era in Pittsburgh. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I know some people have said it on national TV, but I'm going to come out and say it right here. Ben Roethlisberger's done. I'm sorry. He's absolutely toast. He's done. Now, again, I understand the O-line is bad, but Big Ben, I mean, Jesus Christ, what are some of the throws that he's making? I mean, my grandmother could make better throws at this point, and she is 78 years old, okay? So let that sink in for a second. So, look, Big Ben is a Hall of Fame quarterback. There's no question about it. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame. He has accomplished so much throughout his career. Absolutely no question about it. I'm not knocking him in that department. But if we're talking about who is the worst quarterback of the year right now, I'm sorry. Big Ben has to be in that conversation. Right? He obviously is not the same as he once was, but my God, I did not expect him to be this terrible. I mean, Neil, It's almost like when he steps out of the pocket to make a throw, it's like he sees nobody. Some of the throws he makes out of bounds are ridiculous. He sometimes underthrows and overthrows receivers like they're going to go to the freaking. Some of his overthrows are probably going to go in the stands at this point because he's missing so many targets. I get it, they still have weapons, but still, what good is that going to do if Big Ben can't throw the football the way he used to anymore? What good is that going to do? So look, bottom line for me is simply this. The Steelers have let me down, man. They let me down from last year. Look, I get it, they made the playoffs, but this year, look, I love Mike Tomlin. But I don't know if he's going to make the playoffs this year. Not with the way this team's playing. I'm sorry. Look,
be lucky to be
no disrespect, but Tomlin, get your act together, man, and talk to your quarterback because, my God, he is absolute toast. He's done. He is no longer the Big Ben we once knew, and I'm sorry. After this year, it's probably best for him to retire. It is best for him to call it a career and just let him go to the Hall of Fame when his time comes. Because, again, he is going there. But I'm sorry. Bottom line is Big Ben and the Steelers, they're done. They're not going anywhere this year.
Big Ben is the single reason why the Steelers are the way that they are as an organization. The Steelers haven't been able to do any sort of rebuild, retool, or anything for many years because Ben Roethlisberger continues to stubbornly play and delay the inevitable. It really started when you still had Antonio Brown and Le'Veon Bell, and obviously also Big Ben Roethlisberger. You had a team that, yes, was winning a bunch and being successful making the playoffs, but you could clearly see the writing on the wall that this era of Steeler football was coming to an end, that they really need to go out and get that franchise successor to Big Ben. Ben Roethlisberger was pissed off that the Steelers drafted Mason Rudolph a couple years ago. Now, granted, Mason Rudolph is a scrub, so it's not like
yes.
He really should be worried here. Do I think Dwayne Haskins could possibly be that potential franchise quarterback? He very well could, with a guy like Mike Tomlin as his head coach. But I still believe that the Steelers' best bet after this season is to tell Ben Roethlisberger to retire. That they have no intentions of bringing him back after this season. Their offense is so inept. It's uncharacteristic. They have no creativity. Juju Smith-Schuster and Claypool have barely seen the football this entire time. I mean, Eric Ebron, what does he even do anymore? I mean, is he even on the field anymore from what I've seen? I mean, people were giving the Raiders credit for beating the Steelers on the road. And yes, being a team on the road is obviously good, but I had said it that week that the Steelers are really not that good. They're not a good football team. Their defense is okay, and their offense is being slowed down because Ben Roethlisberger can't really do very much. He's not very mobile. His arm accuracy is not what it used to be. And he's a gambler. He's a riverboat gambler. He will throw it into tight windows when he really shouldn't. He will make a lot of errant throws. So the Steelers are constantly stuck in this cycle of having to try to continue to somewhat compete as long as Ben Roethlisberger is here. What the Rooneys should do, and the Rooneys have been obviously one of the best ownerships in the entire NFL, they really need to look themselves in the mirror and not do the same thing that the Giants tried to do with Eli Manning. And that is try to see if you can have one last hurrah with arguably one of your best quarterbacks in the history of your franchise. You need, even if it's ugly, you need to have him exit stage left, and you need to end this. You need to go and get a franchise quarterback. You need to begin that next phase because I think Steeler fans can see it. I think they can see that this is not going to end well, and this is going to be a disappointing year. They can't even run the football properly because they don't want to run the football, and that's costing them. They're throwing it on 4th and inches because they have no faith that they can run the football because they don't want to. So the Steelers have to make that decision because once they remove Ben Roethlisberger from their organization, they will be able to then have full control once again to do what they need to do to build this team and not be just constrained to having your franchise quarterback continue to try to play because he still thinks that he can play. So to me, Ben Roethlisberger is the sole reason the Steelers are the way that they are.
Yeah, no, it's honestly, I think it's brutal, but it's fair. I mean, look, he's not the same, and again, he needs to retire after this season. Again, he is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Okay, he's going to the Hall of Fame. In case you did not hear me enough, or Neil enough. But the bottom line is the Steelers are not the Steelers anymore, man. Unless they tell Big Ben to retire and go out and draft their other potential franchise quarterback, they are going to be stuck in the same boat for years and years and years until they look themselves in the mirror and fix something. That's my first disappointment. Now, the last disappointment for me, well, it's not really a disappointment. It's just the fact that they just anger me. The Bears. I mean, oh my God. Where do I even begin? I mean, oh my God. But the reason why I say the Chicago Bears is they are not handling Justin Fields that well. And again, if you recall, when we went live for our NFL draft episode with our good friends Garrett and Steve Durso, we actually were surprised to learn that the Bears traded up with the Giants, I might add, so they can get the quarterback. And Neil, we were calling for them to draft a quarterback because they needed something to turn this team around. So they get Justin Fields, and we're singing their praises. Oh my God, they actually did something right.
Yep.
And now look what's happening. Look what's happening now. Justin Fields, look, I think he has the potential to succeed in this league. I do. But this year, really? Why? You're throwing him to the wolves. What are you doing? He is literally going to get killed out there if you keep putting him out there. That O-line is not that good. He's not going to protect him that well. And Andy Dalton is not that good of a quarterback anymore. I'm sorry, he's not. As much as you want to argue with me about it, people out there, Andy Dalton is not the long-term answer for the Bears. I'm sorry, he's not.
Neither is Nick Foles. So, I mean.
Yeah. Oh, at this point, he'd be a much better option than Justin Fields, because at least Nick Foles. Oh my! Forget it. I'm not even gonna go down that rabbit hole.
Hold on. Are you suggesting that the problem is that Justin Fields isn't ready? Is that what you're saying? I'm just trying to understand what you're saying, because you just said that Nick Foles would be a better option.
Does Justin Fields look ready to you out there?
All right,
does he look ready?
All right, no, we're not. No, I'm gonna put my foot down.
Oh my God!
No, let me put my foot down on this, because you have to understand. Matt Nagy should be. Excuse my language. Matt Nagy should be fucking fired today. Matt Nagy is a horrible.
Thank you.
Stop. Matt Nagy is a horrible coach. Okay, Matt Nagy should have never been hired as a head coach. There really aren't that many defensive-minded coaches that actually do well when it comes to being a head coach, because their whole thing is playing defense and running the football. That is what the freaking Chicago Bears have been for several years. And you know what? People are starting to realize, you know what? Maybe it wasn't fully Mitch Trubisky's fault as to why the Bears were so inept on offense. Maybe, just maybe, Matt Nagy did not know what he was doing. And you know what? This is going to sound pretty crazy, but I actually agree with what Dan Orlovsky said on Monday on Get Up on ESPN. He said that there's the possibility that Matt Nagy ran the offense they did on Sunday on purpose to try to prove that Justin Fields isn't the guy. And if that's the case, even if it's not true, you still should be fired.
That's a fireable offense.
Justin Fields was sacked 9 times like he had no shot. So, of course, people want to say that Justin Fields isn't good. Granted, history has shown that Ohio State quarterbacks do not translate well to the National Football League. IT, JT Barrett, Cardell Jones, and, we can't just write the book off on Justin Fields just yet. But I'm sure Justin Fields is wondering to himself, why am I here? Why did the Bears trade up to take me if my head coach doesn't even want to play me? Matt Nagy said on Tuesday that the quarterback position is up in the air between Fields, Dalton, and Nick Foles. This is a mess. This is
Yeah.
actually amazing.
By the way, I hate to interrupt you in the middle of your rant, but actually, Austin is in the building, ladies and gentlemen. He has decided to join us as we can get his video on here. There we go. There's our boy. Austin, what's going on, man?
Well, I just got home from work, so.
You're missing us trash on the Bears really hard right now. Neil is just in a tirade.
My point.
Yes, Neil, please resume. The floor is yours.
So what I'm saying is that Matt Nagy is a shitty head coach. He shouldn't be a head coach. He clearly deliberately made sure that Justin Fields was awful on Sunday so that he could go back to the organization and say, oh, you see, we're better off with Andy Dalton or Nick Foles. Maybe, just maybe, Matt Nagy doesn't know another way of winning football games. We don't know. But to me, this just clearly shows a head coach that has no idea what he's doing. He's been given such a talented defense for years, and their biggest issue is the area of the game of football that he has never worked on, and that is the offensive part. When he was with Philadelphia, he was the defensive guy. He was not an offensive guy. He never has been an offensive guy. And so the way that this is just insane to me. It's absolutely insane. And Matt Nagy should be fired. The Bears are awful. The Bears are not going to get any better. And you know what? The Giants are going to finish the season with maybe 1 or 2 wins. Well, guess what? They're going to have 2 top 3 or top 5 picks in next year's draft because the Bears are shitty as hell. This is reality, ladies and gentlemen. So no, let's not blame it. Let's not put this blame on Justin Fields. Let's wait to see if Matt Nagy actually tries to protect his quarterback if Justin Fields ever plays again this season. And let's evaluate it from there, because in the preseason, he looked pretty good. He looked like he knew what he was doing. And I think Matt Nagy didn't want to play Justin Fields for the sole reason that Matt Nagy knows that his ass is so much on fire, it's crazy. He knows that he will be fired very soon, regardless of what happens. And he doesn't want to rely on his job on a rookie quarterback. He would rather go out with a veteran Andy Dalton or a veteran Nick Foles instead of doing it with Justin Fields. The selfless thing that Matt Nagy can do is put Justin Fields in the best position to win, let him develop as the season goes along, and if you get fired, well, you got fired. And then you could go and get another job somewhere else because somebody's going to pick him up as an assistant somewhere. But what you could at least do for the sake of the franchise is to allow Justin Fields to develop so that the next coach that comes in, which is going to be next year, I guarantee you that, can have something to work with. But if you're going to screw around with Justin Fields, you're doing the same thing that ended up happening to Josh Rosen, where Josh Rosen really had no shot. And guess what? First-year head coach, first-year quarterback. Very next year, they're both gone. The coach gets fired, the quarterback gets traded away, and that's that. That will not happen again. You have to give Justin Fields a fair opportunity. We cannot close the book or put any sort of blame on him whatsoever just because he got sacked 9 times and looked awful. Name me one rookie quarterback this year through 3 weeks that has looked good. The answer is nobody. None of them have looked good. Mac Jones has looked bad. Zach Wilson has looked awful. Trevor Lawrence looks like he has no idea what he's doing. None of these guys are doing well. But you know what? These coaches on these other teams, they're sticking with them. They're sticking with them. They're going to live and die by these quarterbacks. This is what Matt Nagy needs to do for the sake of everything. And you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if they start winning some games, maybe Nagy will look better in the eyes of the organization of the Bears, and maybe he'll keep his damn job. But if he's going to operate like this the rest of the season, you might as well fire him now because there's no point to it.
Oh, yeah. Austin?
The man's job is gone already.
Oh, my. Oh, yeah. No, he ought to be fired before the next game. Absolutely. No question.
He's gone. And I'm going to be that person. He's gone. And I mean, since we're on the talk about the Bears, let's go over to Green Bay. Green Bay, they've also got issues. They've got
defensively they have issues. Absolutely, yes.
Defensively they have issues, yes, but they also have a quarterback who wants to be traded.
Aaron Rodgers is gone after this season. He ain't staying there one more year after this.
We all know. He's trying to throw games. I guarantee it. My man is
trying to throw games on that would make sense. It would.
He is throwing games to be traded. It is obvious. And there's just not much else to it.
Well, look, Green Bay was my pick to go to the Super Bowl this year. But would it surprise me if I found out that Aaron Rodgers was throwing games on purpose? Hell no, that wouldn't surprise me.
No, not a chance.
But yes, Austin, since you're just joining us, my surprise and disappointments for 3 weeks in the NFL season so far, my two surprises were the Raiders and the Bengals, and my two disappointments were the Steelers and the Bears. And Neil, everything you just said about the Chicago Bears is absolutely 100% spot on. Now, I still do think that Justin Fields has a chance to succeed in this league. I absolutely do, and I want him to. But he needs a new coach. Matt Nagy he literally has no brain. He has none. He doesn't think. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And quite frankly, Ryan Pace ought to go with him because he also has no idea what the hell he's doing. All right? The Bears organization is an absolute mess. They need to look themselves in the mirror just like the Steelers do with Ben Roethlisberger, as mentioned earlier. And look, the Bears are probably the single biggest disappointing team outside of the Steelers this season through 3 weeks. And I'm sorry, I don't see anything changing with the Bears this season. I'm sorry.
I just got to make three. I just need to make things known.
Uh-oh.
No.
Showing off about the Raiders, huh?
Oh, and the Cardinals. They're both kicking it.
Oh, yeah, the Cardinals.
They're both kicking it, and how it should be.
Oh, that is true. But, Neil, who are your surprises and disappointments through 3 weeks?
My surprising disappointments or...
Your surprises
and disappointments. Sorry.
Surprising disappointments.
No.
I'm sorry. There is no surprising disappointments.
You want me to start my surprises? All right. So, my surprises are, well, first of all, it's the Carolina Panthers. Look, they've had somewhat of a soft schedule through the first 3 weeks, so I mean, it's not entirely surprising.
Right.
But the fact that they're staring at a 3-0 record, and at least for now, in first place in the NFC South, when we all thought it was going to be a battle between the Bucs and the Saints, is definitely surprising. But again, it's only week 3.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm not surprised that Sam Darnold is doing well because Sam Darnold just had to get out of New York and get out of the clutches of the Jets organization for him to be good. And Sam Darnold is already proving that he is going to have the same type of success that Ryan Tannehill's having in Tennessee since he left Adam Gase. That once you get out of the Adam Gase system, it's like you're being born again. It's like what Dr. Martin Luther King used to say, free at last, thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. That's literally how Sam Darnold reacted when he got traded away from the Jets to the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, their offense has been looking pretty good. Obviously taking a blow with losing C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey, for the next couple of weeks. So they're going to rely much heavier on Sam Darnold, Moore, Robbie Anderson, guys like that, Chuba Hubbard. They're going to have to really carry the load here to try to get themselves moving forward, which, I mean, look, do I still think that they're going to be a decent team? Yes, because their defense in particular looks really good. Now, when you're playing the freaking Houston Texans and Davis Mills, I mean, you're going to look like a top 3 defense in the NFL regardless. But nonetheless, yeah, the Carolina Panthers are certainly, one of my bigger surprises on the season. And definitely the other surprises really quickly are both I guess I would just, I was going to say the Rams and the Cardinals, but I'm just going to say the Cardinals because I knew with the Rams that all they needed was just a better quarterback. And they got that.
And they got one. Potential MVP candidate, I might add.
Exactly. So they're a much better team. They They literally have weapons on offense, a really good offensive line, and a really, really good defense. They just needed the right quarterback, and they've gotten that in Stafford, and that's a team that really has championship aspirations. With the Arizona Cardinals, look, nobody went into this season saying that the Cardinals are going to be a bad team. I think a lot of people saw the Cardinals as a team that could be decent, but look, they could have made the playoffs last year, but they're in just arguably one of the toughest, if not the toughest division in all of the NFL in the NFC West. But the Arizona Cardinals have come out and have looked, through their first 2 weeks, they looked really good. Offensively last week, they needed help. Like offensively, they looked really bad. Like Kyler Murray did not look like himself. DeAndre Hopkins is fighting through a rib injury, but their defense came to play. And so that's really, really important. And it's good for them to get off to this type of start because we know that at some point the Seattle Seahawks are going to get going. We know that the Niners are rolling right now at 2-1. They're playing good football. That's going to be a division that's going to come down to the wire. I mean, I expect at least 2 teams from that division, potentially 3, to make it to the postseason. But as far as a division championship, it's going to be like a 3-way. To me, it's a 3-way battle, but it could potentially be a 4-way battle with the way that the Arizona Cardinals are playing. I'm not saying the Cardinals are going to fall off, but I'm really impressed with, the Cardinals usually in these situations tend to falter down the stretch. They have stretches where they just go completely lifeless. Right. But if Kyler Murray's playing like this continuously, he's going to be up for the MVP without a doubt. I mean, he's been looking that good. Now, as far as my disappointments are concerned, there really is. I mean, people want to tell me that it's the Chiefs, but I'm not really worried about it because it's 3 weeks and the Chiefs are back.
I feel like the Buccaneers are a bigger disappointment right now than the Chiefs
and
are.
They're 2-1. It's not like that's the thing. It's bad when a disappointment is the Bucs being at 2-1 in second place in the division.
Exactly.
Yeah,
but
true.
I mean, let's be real. We all expected them to be 3-0 at the beginning of the year.
Everybody expected them to be 17-0. So what do you want?
Exactly.
Anyway,
yeah, exactly.
My biggest disappointment is, and people are gonna be confused as to why I say this, but it's the New York Giants. It really is, actually.
I mean, come on, man. That's pretty obvious to me.
To be fucking 3-point favorites at home against a really shitty Atlanta Falcons team, knowing that you're going to be honoring arguably the greatest player in your history, or at least the greatest quarterback in your team's history, and to play as badly as you did, to me, honestly, this season is over for the Giants. There is no way of getting out of this. For them to start the season 0-3, they're putting themselves in a position that they cannot climb out of. And now they go to New Orleans, and you think the Giants are going to look even half decent against the Saints? I mean, their defense is nothing to write home about, but at some point, Daniel Jones is going to start screwing up again. It's not like this play you've been seeing is not going to last. And may I remind everybody that he did fumble the ball twice on Sunday. Granted, they didn't lose the ball, but he still fumbled. That won't ever change. And you just have to understand it. Joe Judge, I feel like, is just proven that he is not the guy. He's just not it. Jason Garrett is just so inept and so awful that it's not even worth going on a rant for.
Is it that bad? Is it that bad?
It is really that bad.
Oh, yeah. No, it is. It is.
Their defense is way worse than it was last year. And now losing Blake Martinez to a season-ending ACL injury, I don't see how the Giants can win a game. I'm being very honest. I do believe that the Giants have a legitimate shot to be the first team in NFL history to go 0-17. Because listen to this. Listen to the rest of their schedule. They're at New Orleans. They're at Dallas. They're at home against the Rams. They're at home against the Panthers. Then they play the Chiefs, Raiders, and Buccaneers after that. Then they play the Eagles, which, they may be able to win that game because the Eagles look pretty shitty themselves.
The Eagles,
maybe one win there. Yeah,
look, things can happen. Then you play the Dolphins. Then you play the Chargers, the Cowboys again, the Eagles again, the Bears, which maybe, just maybe, that's a possibility.
You should beat the Bears.
And then, well, they should have beaten the Falcons. So look how that
True. No, that is true. That is true.
And then you play the Washington football team. I literally, at best, this is a 2-15 team.
Yeah.
At best. And I have to say it. Signing these guys, Kenny Golladay, Adoree Jackson, has been a waste of money because they're not even being used. Adoree Jackson can't stay healthy. They don't throw the ball to Kenny Golladay, so I don't know why the hell we have him.
Can I just say, I really hope they go.
Has to hold on a second, Austin.
Yeah, go ahead.
The whole organization has to accept that for the last decade they have fucked up. If they're legitimately serious about wanting to be successful, wanting to win again, they have to accept that they fucked up, that they let the wrong people in charge of football operations. Jerry Reese had to go, and they fired him. But you brought in a dinosaur in David Gettleman, who 5 years ago promised that this team would have a dominant offensive line. They're not even close. They're one of the worst in the NFL. And you know what's hilarious? The offensive line hasn't been that bad. Yet they've lost both Shane Lemieux and Nick Gates to season-ending injuries. Half of their offensive line is on IR.
Yep.
I mean, it's ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous. This team is not going to get any better. I'm sorry. And so I look at it like this. If it gets to week 7, week 8, and let's say you don't have a win, everyone's got to go. Somebody's got to get fired. Gettleman's got to go. I hate saying it, but Joe Judge probably has to go. Because if he refuses to get rid of Jason Garrett or Patrick Graham to make some form of change, you have to move on. You have to let a new guy come in. You have to let a new GM come in, bring in his own coach, bring in his own quarterback. And you know what? If guys like Saquon, if guys like Sterling Shepard, if guys like even Kenny Golladay want to leave, then let them go. And just tell the fans that you fucked up, that we made the mistake for too long, and now we're going to try something new. We're going to restart again, and we have to go from there. Because then at least Giants fans can look at it and say, okay, we have that. We know, at least we have some sort of direction. I don't know what the direction of this football team is anymore. I don't know where this team is going. And again, you really think the Giants are going to win the majority of these games? No, they'd be lucky if they're in some of these games. They're going to be very lucky. They're going to be extremely lucky. The weeks that are killing me are between November 1st and November 22nd when they play the Chiefs, Raiders, and damn Buccaneers 3 weeks in a row. They come off of their bye week to play the Bucs on the road.
Terrible.
I don't know who was the brilliant that decided to put the Giants playing several of the best teams in the NFL when they all knew they were going to be shitty. So, to some people, it's not a surprise the Giants are sucking. To me, they're just downright disappointing because it'd be one thing if they were just losing, yet that they were doing a lot of things right and a lot of things just they were getting screwed. They look worse than last year. They look worse. There's no justification. David Gettleman is into his 4th or 5th season and has still yet to win 10 games as a general manager. How the fuck do you go on this long? How?
0-17.
Unbelievable. And it just brings me back to what I've said before. The interest of the owners is not the same as the interest of the fans. If the ownership cared enough, something would have been done already. But it just proves that they're really not that interested. Or maybe they just don't know what they're doing anymore. Maybe the game has passed them all by. Maybe the Giants are just in a rut where they have to get new ownership or younger people who know about the game of football in this day and age. This is the same GM that got rid of Odell Beckham Jr. And look how it's turned out. We're not that much better since we got rid of him. We're not that much better than getting rid of Janoris Jenkins or Landon Collins. What? We're not that much better. We're not. And we've drafted bum after bum after bum. David Gettleman's drafting is so bad.
It's terrible.
So that's all I have to say. I personally have to go, guys. I don't mean to leave early, but I have to go because I got to go do some work. But I just had to say that. So
no, Austin and I will take over from here. Neil, take it easy, my man. Take care of yourself. We'll talk soon.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, take it easy, my dude.
Yep.
Well, that sums up Neil's surprises and disappointments. So, Austin, what were you going to say before you try to cut off Neil?
0-17.
You hope they go 0-17?
Just because, and I mean, I can't give you anything about this episode because I've gotten to watch 2 games all season so far.
Oh wow, jeez. Well, I mean, it's only 3 weeks in, so I mean, you still got plenty of time.
And both of those happen to be Raiders games, so.
Well, I mean, yes. At least the Raiders are trying to prove something. Meanwhile, I'm a sorry-ass Giants fan sitting here being like, what the hell am I doing with my life? All I can say is simply this. Thank the Lord Jesus in heaven that hockey season is here. Because quite frankly, the Rangers are all I've got. They're all I've got. They actually might be a playoff contender this year. I am looking forward to watching the Rangers play. I am looking forward to watching your Chicago Blackhawks, your Vegas Golden Knights go out there and try and actually win this year. And granted, again, if Vegas doesn't do it this year, I mean, they're going to have a lot of questions. I'm looking forward to seeing the Seattle Kraken play for the first time ever.
God.
I'm looking forward to hockey
season. I don't want to talk about Seattle after last night. Oh my God! Did you see the score of the game?
Yes, I did. That was. Oh my God!
That was brutal.
That was
the Columbus game last night was brutal too.
Yeah, that was brutal stuff. But
how do you blow a 4-1 lead in the third to the fucking Sabres?
It really is. It really is unbelievable. But the bottom line for me is simply this: I am looking forward to hockey season because the Giants suck, the Jets suck, the Yankees, while they've been red hot so far, are probably not going to do anything when they make the playoffs.
Who won the game last night, by the way?
The Yankees did.
We're playing you guys, correct?
Yep. Game 2 of the 3-game set is tonight at the time of this recording in about 10 minutes. So,
yeah, because I had to think about that because this is a very crucial series.
No, it is for both teams because Toronto's not that far off, man. They still can make some noise.
Yeah, we're one back from a wild card spot as of yesterday.
Yeah, from the second wild card spot. Because the Yankees are now 2 ahead in the first wild card spot.
You guys have the first.
And Boston surprisingly lost to the Orioles. Okay, so they dropped the game, and now Toronto just moved up because of that. All right, so look, the bottom line, I rather watch the rest of the Yankee season and be disappointed by that than continue to watch the Giants, because at least the Yankees have some impressive wins. At least they're on a hot streak right now. Do I still think it's been a disappointing and frustrating season? Yes, I do. But if and when they make the playoffs, let's see what they do. I personally don't think they're going to do anything, but if they win the wild card game and if they get in, you never know what can happen. But I am looking forward to that, and I'm looking forward to the Rangers season and with hockey season in general, because at this point, I'm just sick of the Giants. I'm sick of them.
And at this point, I really can't say much because both my teams are red hot, the Raiders and the Cardinals. and I'm going to say it now. Watching the game against the Ravens, my God, can we talk about Carl Nassib for a minute?
Oh my God.
This man.
I was legit raving about how Max Crosby might be Defensive Player of the Year if he keeps it the way he's playing.
Max Crosby and Carl Nassib are easily 2 of the better defensive players so far this season.
100%, no question. No question.
It's fantastic.
And also, your boy, Derek Carr, has looked really good.
Derek Carr comes in out of nowhere and just decides to blow everybody up. I'm like, you do.
I mean, look, I personally, on the record, I'm not saying that Derek Carr is a scrub. He absolutely is not. He's always been a really good quarterback. The problem is that he hasn't been protected that well and he hasn't had that many weapons. And I'm really impressed with what the coaching staff has done. I'm really impressed with the way he's played. But that defense has really been startling to me. Nobody is going to want to go to Vegas and play the Raiders, especially with that defensive front. My God, they're dangerous.
Well, then again, we did just have a player get suspended.
Well, yeah, that's true. I did forget about that.
We did just have somebody, I forget who it was, but he got suspended for enhancing drugs.
Yeah, so somebody can let us know on social media at Bottomline WMCX. But
You know where to
listen,
find us.
and then the Cardinals. I mean, jeez, man. Look, nobody said that. Like Neil said before, nobody said that they were going to be bad. I personally thought they were going to be actually pretty decent.
And I expected
But
them
this
to be.
level of play, damn boy, come on now. Hey, Kyler Murray, I'm looking at you, man. I'm looking at you because you have looked absolutely stellar. Potential MVP candidate in 3 weeks. Yes, he has looked absolutely sensational. And look, when DeAndre Hopkins is healthy, I mean, that dude is just on another planet. He is unbelievable.
And I mean, we all said it when they got Watt. We said it after they got Watt, they were going to be a stellar team this year. And
well, I mean, JJ Watt just got. Did he just get activated off the injured reserve? Or is he still on there?
I'm not 100%. Once again, I haven't caught a Cardinals game yet, so I don't know.
I think that TJ Watt on the Steelers has the potential to be better than his brother, JJ. But when JJ Watt's healthy, yeah, he may be a little bit on the older side, but he's still got it, man. He's JJ Watt. I mean, what more do you want?
Then again, it is the Steelers on the other hand. You see what they're doing.
I mean, look, their defense is fine. Their defense is fine. I'm not concerned about their defense. Why I said the Steelers were a disappointment is because of their offense, especially Ben Roethlisberger. And I'll reiterate it to you, Austin.
The old
Big Ben's done. He's done. I'm sorry.
He
needs to retire so he can enjoy himself and go into the Hall of Fame when his time is there.
I mean, we say the same thing about Tom Brady. Look at him.
Tom Brady's a whole other animal.
He needs to go too.
Oh, come on. Really?
I want
the man
him
just won a 7th Super Bowl. You're going to say he needs to retire?
Listen, I want him, Big Ben, and Rodgers all out of here. Bingo.
Oh, my God.
I don't care. Hey.
Wow.
Anybody got a problem with me? You know where to find me.
Wow, that's bold. Well, look, we all know that Aaron Rodgers is not going to be in Green Bay next year. He's going to go somewhere else. Big Ben needs to retire.
Let's be straight. Okay. Let's be real for a second, though. I think Rodgers won't be with Green Bay halfway through the season. If he continues, like I said, if he continues to throw games like he has been, I see him getting booted.
Booed the hell out of the state. No, I mean, again, would it surprise me if I found that out? No, it would not. But look, he's still Aaron Rodgers.
But then again, I can also say this. Evander Kane, is that you?
Damn. Although they just said there was no evidence that he did what he did, but I don't know.
But I mean, now there's more.
Well, we'll save that for another episode. But the bottom line
he's a whole hazard to society.
Yeah. Well, bottom line is this. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He's still talent-wise one of the greatest quarterbacks I've ever seen.
Oh, I thought you were
He's also going to the Hall of Fame. Absolutely no question.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that. I thought I thought you were going to say. Then again, he is Evander Kane.
No, oh my goodness, you sir are something else. Oh, man.
Listen, we haven't had a good episode in like what 3 weeks.
Sounds about right. Yeah,
it feels like 3 weeks.
It feels like longer than that.
So there's a lot that has happened that just needs to.
We'll have some catching up to do during the week, but welcome back, Austin.
I think we still need that episode for me to rant and rave. I mean,
don't worry. There will be a hockey episode really, really soon. Maybe the Slapshot Sweethearts will be joining us as well. So stay tuned.
I would rather not that maybe because there's a lot of ranting and raving that could be going on.
Oh gosh. Oh boy. This is gonna be good.
I mean, I could see a little back forth between me and Megan. About our good buddy and his situation.
Oh boy, here we go. All right. Well, Yeah, definitely hold that in for the next episode. We'll definitely work on that. But welcome back, Austin. And on that note, that'll wrap it up for this episode of the Bottom Line Podcast. Who are your biggest surprises and disappointments through 3 weeks of the NFL season? Let us know on all social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, at Bottom Line WCX. Use hashtag Bottom Line. Yes, Austin?
I was going to say, you want a surprise for this season? Detroit.
The Lions?
After they just pulled this week.
Oh, my God. I mean, granted, the Lions are the Lions, so they'll always find ways to lose. They're 0-3, but I mean, have they really looked that terrible, though?
They surprised me by blowing that game.
Yeah, I mean, look. Justin Tucker is one of the best kickers in the game.
I was going to say, what was it, like
60 field goal? I mean, jeez.
Like, come on. That's another team that's been a surprise.
The Ravens?
The Ravens kind of they've kind of surprised me.
Yeah, all right. Well, okay.
But yeah.
I can see where you're coming from.
I'm just saying.
I see it, but look, the Lions are going to be the Lions. That's pretty much the bottom line. They just suck. They find ways to lose, but look, they've been in these 3 games so far. They almost came back against the 49ers. They had a lead in Green Bay, and they had a 1-point lead against the Ravens, but then Justin Tucker came in and spoiled that party. So they really haven't looked terrible per se, quote unquote, but they're still the Lions.
And since we're talking about kickers, I have a buddy of mine. He likes this saying as of the last few weeks. What is it with Carlson's in Vegas?
Man, that's great. That is great. I love that.
You got a kicker who's doing fantastic things over with the Raiders, and then you got an amazing Hawaii Labilla over with the Knights doing his job.
Yeah, that's true. And by the way, going back to the Giants for a split second here,
oh no,
you also know it's bad when your best player is Graham Gano. The kicker is your best player. You know it's a problem. What are we doing here? Seriously.
Nope, not going to say a word.
I'm just going to leave it alone before another tirade comes out. But anyway, let us know your biggest surprise and disappointments in 3 weeks of the NFL season. Welcome back, Austin. It's good to see you, my brother. We'll see you in the next episode. For Nouvelle Piano and for Mr. Taco, he's back. I'm Jimmy Finizzi. This is the Bottom Line Podcast, and we will see you in the next episode. Peace and take care.